What's up? What is going on, crypto fam? Happy, what day is it? Wednesday. Happy hump day. And welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. I'm one of your co-hosts, David, and we are coming at you from our studio here in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, with our daily on the weekdays only live show. Before we get into the content, quick disclaimer, nothing that's said on this channel should be taken as financial advice. So please, as always, do your own research. With that out of the way, allow me to introduce you to the man that I fight with more than my brothers and my wife, Big Rob. What's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information, and we package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, you don't just do live streams. We also do YouTube shorts and other videos, and we chop stuff up. And anyways, watch our other stuff. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the other stuff. Also, if you do us a favor and like this video, we would much appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed yet, what the hell's wrong with you? And lastly, that's all I got there on my intro.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything? No? You sure?
Today's show is going to be juicy.
Is it?
So we're talking Voyager. Obviously, it's going to be the main topic of our show today. Bankruptcy, what it means for retail, what it means for the rest of the investors. I personally think this was a good move. I'm sure Robin disagrees. And we'll talk about more of that during our hot take.
You're telling me Voyager filing your bankruptcy is good news?
In their situation, yes.
You already know where the sides
You
of
already
the
know
fence
where-
are.
I
on
already
this
know
one.
where it's going. All right.
Sometimes you make no sense.
I've been meditating extra today. And I know I got to use a lot of brain power to get through to you today. So
There's not a lot of power in there. So
it's more than you got yours.
like a Duracell running flat. Now we have roll call. So first in the chat we got Strictly Sports. Then Tox.
His name is Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Thank you.
First in the chat. How you doing? Thank you. We got Tox, Bullish Kenny G, R.A. Daniel. We got Brokey Yoshi and Marky Mark. Who else we got up in here? You leave me alone. We got Wheelin' Dealin' James Wheeler. Hendy, Sean, Bubbas, Destroyer, Sir Babe, Luis, Fino, and that's it.
That's it.
That rounds it out.
Welcome in, friends.
We're sitting at 26 people in the chat. You know the deal. Are we going to cross the 60 viewer threshold? That is our new limit.
I feel it.
When we hit new all-time highs here at Sin City Crypto, we like to celebrate. We like to have a party. We do what Vegas does best, and we open up the club. And we also, what else does Vegas do really good?
A lot.
Crypto YouTube show.
Oh, yes.
Forgot about that one.
That as well. Yes.
Yeah. And then we got, whoa, hold on. Michael Snelling. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. New, and he's from Vegas.
Wow. I like it.
You know, I had a roommate with the last name Snelling.
You did. You think it's him?
Maybe.
What's his name? Michael.
No. Now, and we also got Metaspawn, also new. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And then in case you haven't
been here before.
Has he?
Yes.
Anyways, if you haven't, if you're not familiar with what we're doing here, if you're new in the chat, drop a hello. We can give you some hola love. All right, so how are we gonna start this thing off?
Jump in.
Jump in.
Well, let me jump in first. You pull up my laptop, Mr. Producer.
Oh, by the way, we have Rocco we gave Rocco the day
No,
off.
we fired him.
And not fire Rocco. And so we got not Eddie, but we got Ed. So we got Ed over here helping us out on the production. So
Big poker player. I'm trying to get some poker tips from him.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you got any poker questions, drop those in the chat as
Yes.
well. All right. So yeah, thanks again, Ed, for helping us out.
That's right.
Otherwise, we would have all taken the day off.
Yes.
Now, and Eddie, in case y'all are wondering, is in Disneyland, right?
Disney. He was in Disney World. Now he's
Disney-
in Miami.
It was Disney World
Disney World. Yeah.
in Florida, huh?
Yeah.
Jealous.
I thought he was like 30. I guess he's like 18. I don't know. Anyways, Ed, do you mind pulling up my laptop real quick? I got to, before Robin gets into his market stuff, I got to show this. So this was tweeted from Watcher Guru on Twitter. South Korea and the U.S. have agreed to share investigation data on the collapse of Luna and UST. Robin, you surprised?
Not really. I mean, wait, are you surprised? I think it's.
I don't know.
I think. Well, here's the thing, man. People lost money here in the U.S., globally, also in Korea. So, you know, a lot of the trading and a lot of the investors were here in the U.S. The Luna Foundation was based in South Korea, so it only makes sense. So I guess, you know, at face value, you're like, whoa, two government agencies working together. But it does make sense. So yeah, I guess not surprised. So,
do you think this will fare worse for Do Kwon and Terraform Labs, or it will fare better?
how would they feel better?
Fare better.
How would it fare better?
We're
like, oh, like they just they woke up and be like, guys, guess what? The U.S.
two
countries are investigating us. Like,
yeah.
I like your questions today.
Thank you.
Very good.
Keep them coming. All right, go ahead. Take it away.
All right. So pulling up my laptop here, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, of course. Where are we at? We're at $20,270.26. So not much has changed, and I'm going to keep talking about this until it breaks the pattern that obviously we're in. So once again, we came off of this 40K region, and we just dropped all the way down to the 30K line here. So we traded at around 30K plus or minus 1,000 or two on either side for almost a month. Going into this pattern, we dipped all the way down to 26,000, and then we bounced right back up. And lo and behold, we just traded right here at the 30K for 4 weeks. And what do you know? The same exact pattern popped out here again. We went from 30 down to 20. We dipped all the way down to 18, almost. Did we hit 17,000? I don't know.
That was 17.5.
We hit 17.5. So in the same way that we had a big drop here down to 26, we had a big drop down to 17.5. And lo and behold, we've been trading it plus or minus $1,000 to $2,000 around the 20K line. We're about 2.5 weeks into this. So if we were to follow this same pattern, we could predict that the same thing will happen again, right? History does repeat itself quite often.
They're little microcycles.
Yeah. So this is going to line up perfectly with the inflation numbers that are set to come out. When is it? The 15th, right? I think it's the 15th. So basically 11 days or 9 days from now. And so when the inflation numbers come out, they're going to probably be disappointing. If do you think they're going to be disappointing? You think we're going to be over 8%?
You will be over 8, but we'll be under 8.6.
So there you go. We'll still be over 8% inflation year over year, and it's probably going to spook the markets, both the traditional markets and also crypto markets, in the same way that it did last month. We do have the Fed minutes coming out today as well.
July 13th.
July 13th.
Yeah.
So 1 week from now, huh?
Yeah. Exactly 1 week.
Yeah. So in a week from now, we'll have a better idea of what the Fed is going to do. Speaking of Fed, we do have the Fed minute. If you're not familiar with what the Fed minute is, the Fed minutes is basically the transcripts from their last meeting a month ago. So if you're wondering what was said a month ago, now you would think, hey, there's probably nothing significant, but history has shown that sometimes the Fed minutes come out and they're saying some crazy stuff. And all of a sudden the markets overreact and they're like, oh man, this is what they're saying. Temperature. Taking a look, crypto fear and greed index is at 18. So a little bit, we're still in the extreme fear. I think the extreme fear is anything under 20, which has traditionally been a great time to buy. So, if you're looking to dollar cost average in, I think it's still a great time. Could we go lower? Absolutely. Is crypto at a value right now? Absolutely. So remember, you're probably never going to be able to time the bottom. And if you do time the bottom, you'll probably only do it once. So It's just, luck. Taking a look, some of the biggest gainers, Convex Finance, Avalanche up 11%. Big fans of Avalanche here. And then you also got Curve up as well. So you see some of the DeFi is starting to pump. We had so many people exiting DeFi, exiting anything that is involved when it comes to lending and borrowing, staking, yield, all that jazz. And maybe people are feeling a little bit more comfortable. I mean, you see the fear and greed index. People are feeling a little bit more comfortable as far as the overall sentiment. And now you're seeing people getting back into DeFi. So I don't know. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Who knows? So taking a look at the crypto bubbles, we have Avalanche up 11% here on the bubbles. Rune, Convex, Sand is also up as well.
What are your thoughts on Hex, Robin?
Not a big Richard Hart guy. If you're not familiar, Richard Hart is the founder of this chain. He's also very outspoken. Volatile words, I'll put it that way. He pushes the limits. Going into the if I don't have nothing nice to say, I'm not going to say anything. So I'll just leave it at that, right? Mama told me that. Mama. Now looking at the stock market here, we have pretty flat. It's all in the red, but it's pretty flat. It's pretty close to even here. So I wouldn't look at this as a red day. Just everything's kind of holding flat, and I think a lot of people are looking into what is going to come out with the Fed minute. That's going to come up at 11 a.m. So here in about 15, 20 minutes, if all of a sudden we get a big shift here, we know that something happened in the Fed minutes.
Michael Snelling said, Richard Hart is amazing. Just ask him.
Yes. And also we got Forever Young. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Now, taking a look at, got a couple things. Oil did take a tumble down 10%. And now a barrel of oil went under $100. Yeah. So
bullish.
We haven't yet seen the drop at the price at the pumps. A lot of times, for the price of a barrel of oil to go through the whole system, from the refinery all the way through the chain to the pump, it takes a little while. So I would expect a drop here sometime soon in the price of gas. But
it's already dropped a little bit.
But at the same time, keep in mind, price of gas usually goes up during the summertime. There needs to be additives added into the oil.
I only do vegan oil. No additives.
No additives, huh? I think what you're looking for is organic.
Organic oil, yes.
Organic oil. Because I think oil is vegan.
Thank you for that clarification, Rob.
So, and anyways, so we were down to $97. There is rumors that when oil tumbles off of a local all-time high, it usually is a signal of recession as well. People think of the price of oil going up as, oh, that's a recession. But usually, if you look back at the history of oil, for an example, here, I'll just take a look here. So if you look at the price of oil, when oil dropped here in pull up the 5-year, when oil dropped, was it the 2008?
All time.
Okay, yeah. See, this was at 2008. So this was at the height of the recession, kind of when everything was starting to crumble. Then we went deep into the recession. Remember, 2008, the whole year was ugly. And it got significantly worse later on in the year. And this is what happened. We went from $140 a barrel all the way down to $44. And this really just, gas got cheaper. But this was, gas got cheaper because a lot of people weren't driving anywhere. People were laid off. They're sitting at home, freaking out.
Airlines.
People weren't taking vacations. Yeah. The airlines weren't as packed. So at face value, you might look at, oil being down 10%, be like, oh, that's good. Maybe it's gonna cause cause for getting us out of this recession. But history says that's usually not a good
Here's
thing.
the thing. A lot of economists see the run up of oil as an indication of recession is coming. And then when we're in a recession, you'll start seeing a dip. So
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing right now.
Also, in traditional stocks here. So if you're not familiar, Voyager Exchange is publicly traded. And so not here in the U.S., but in Canada, because they're a Canadian-based brokerage firm / exchange. So the Toronto Stock Exchange suspends Voyager digital shares. We did see them go from an all-time high of over $20 a share down to about like 20 cents.
Yeah.
So basically all is lost. But why did they suspend it? Because they filed for, is it Chapter 11, right?
Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
So file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which we are going to talk about in depth, where David's going to try to convince you that it's a good thing.
It is a good thing, considering all other options. With that being said, let's roll right into it. Hot take. Let's go.
It's hot.
All right. Let's not waste any time. So the question I'm posing today is, the Voyager bankruptcy a good thing or bad thing for retail investors? Okay. So to give you some context, we're going to go over some information. We'll pause in between. We'll talk about it. And then we'll ultimately discuss what the hell is going on. So pull up my laptop, please. Crypto broker Voyager Digital files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the state of New York. Per the petition for Voyager Digital Holdings, estimated assets are between 1 and 10 billion, with between the same amount in liabilities. And the estimated number of creditors exceeds 100,000. Here is their petition. This is the actual form. Let me make it a little bigger for my friends here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but a couple things I wanted to highlight. I'm going to scroll down here. Now, with Chapter 11 bankruptcy, okay, so let me give you a couple examples of who's filed and where they are now. United Airlines filed for Chapter 11 in 2002. General Motors filed for Chapter 11. Macy's filed for Chapter 11. Toys R Us filed for Chapter 11. And these are brands that are still around. Well, maybe not Toys R Us. So it's essentially a way. So when you file Chapter 11, you don't have enough money to pay everyone back, but you still think you could salvage your creditors, which in this case would be secured, unsecured, retail, shareholders, blah, blah, blah. Or you want to restructure everything, pay back pennies on the dollar, and then come out of it. And what Robin mentioned with Toronto Stock Exchange delisting, that is essentially mandatory when you file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, is you automatically get delisted from the stock exchange, whether that's in Canada or in the U.S. Now, here, if I could scroll down a little more. So debtor estimation. So the debtor, when you see debtor, that's Voyager. Creditor is retail investors, anyone who's lent money to them, blah, blah, blah. Funds will be available for distribution to unsecured creditors, which will be you guys, right? People who have money on Voyager, the consumer. And then if you scroll down here, I'm not going to go through all of this again, but it asks them to list the top 50 unsecured claims. And obviously Alameda came in number one. It's an unsecured loan, $75 million. And then each individual customer, one guy's got 9.7 million, 7.8, blah, blah, blah. Now, I want to give you some context on Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I spent about 3 hours yesterday watching video after video. I called one of my friends. He's a lawyer, does bankruptcy, asked him some questions. I actually tried to get him on the show, but he had a packed day today. But this is from Investopedia. During a Chapter 11 proceeding, the court will help a business restructure its debts and obligation. In most cases, the firm remains open and operating, but the process is not a speedy one. So United filed for Chapter 11 in December of 2002, and they didn't come out of it until 2006, January of 2006. So a little over 3 years. Chapter 11 comes in two parts. The first part is when you submit your proposal to the courts. The shareholders, they vote on it, and they either approve it or they don't. And then the second part is actually paying everyone back, whether that's monthly, lump sums, or whatever the case may be. The business is not able to make some decisions without the permission of the courts. These include the sale of assets, starting or terminating a rental agreement, and stopping or expanding business operations. In Chapter 11, the individual or business filing bankruptcy has the first chance to propose a reorganization plan, which in this case, because it was voluntary, would be Voyager. These plans may include downsizing of business operations to reduce expenses, as well as renegotiating debts. In some cases, involves liquidating all assets to repay creditors. Now, what are some advantages? The biggest advantage is that the entity, which is Voyager, can continue operations while going through the reorganization process. This allows them to generate cash flow that can aid in the repayment process. What are some disadvantages? It's usually the most expensive form of bankruptcy proceeding for a company that is struggling to the point where it is considering filing for bankruptcy. The legal costs alone might be a bit onerous. So, I'm going to stop there. Okay? You want to add anything else before I move on, Robin?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. So, here's the list. I created this myself. Compliment. And Ed, can you go full screen laptop so they can see everything? So this is on the left, order of creditors to be paid back. Okay. So first you have post-bankruptcy money. Okay. So Voyager is allowed to raise more money. No, go back to it. Just go click. There you go. Perfect. Thank you, buddy. Voyager is able to still raise money and take money from outside investors as unsecured debt. And now that money goes to the top of the line, even above secured creditors. And they have to be paid back in cash or cash equivalent. Then you have secured creditors, same thing. Then you have undersecured creditors. So not 100% unsecured, but they're not fully secured either. And they have to be paid in a combination of cash, new shares of the restructured company, and crypto tokens. Then you have priority unsecured creditors, which are the employees, administration fees, lawyer fees, same thing. And then in the red, non-priority unsecured creditors, which is retail, which is consumers. Same thing, combination of cash. And then you have the people that get it the worst, preferred shareholders and common shareholders of their VYGVF stock. And SOL doesn't stand for Solana, it stands for shit out of luck, because they essentially get nothing. Okay, so you can put it back to me. I'm done with the laptop. I'm going to make my case for why this is a good thing, okay? First of all, when you file for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the court oversees your operations. Okay?
Just David. No laptop. Just the David camera. There
Beautiful, my man. Ed, thank you so much. We brought Ed in literally. No, you're good, man. We brought him in literally last minute, so we appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Got like a trillion buttons back there.
Yeah, you should see our, looks like cockpit of an airplane. So when you file for Chapter 11, you're essentially, the court has to sign off on anything you do. So if you want, hey, this is how, you got to propose a plan, and the court has to say, okay, this sounds good. Would you rather Voyager do that, or would you rather than do what Celsius is doing, which is using retail money, paying back corporate debt, paying back loans, and no one knows what the hell is going on? And yes, bankruptcy is not a good thing. But in this case, and people are saying, well, I'm just going to get useless shares of a new Voyager stock. Well, would you rather get some cash, some tokens, some shares of a possibly useless stock, or would you rather get zero, like the people of Celsius are probably getting? So to me, this is a good thing. You have a court overseeing your decisions. Now, the whole we're going to come out of this and we're going to be a new company, I don't buy into that. I think as soon as withdrawals are halted or they pay people back, people are done with Voyager. The only way Voyager can survive is if a credible name, a credible company comes in and just takes over that entire platform. And then even then, branding has to change. You have to add some sort of, I don't know, insurance or something to make people feel comfortable. Like, hey, if this happens again, my funds are safe. I'll stop there for a second. Go ahead.
David. You should be ashamed of yourself, bro. You should be ashamed of yourself for sitting here trying to build up a case for why bankruptcy is a good thing. Okay?
Not all bankruptcies are created equal.
Yeah, they're spending money and effort and restructuring to launch another company. How about you don't do any of that? How about you just simply take every single dollar you have and try to funnel it to the people that have lost out, instead of trying to relaunch a completely different company? Nobody wants to go back into Voyager. Nobody cares about Voyager. Voyager is stupid. Nobody likes it. They mismanage funds. They burn people. People lost money. We don't need you to come back to life. Nobody needs you to come back to life. And you know what? It's damn insulting that Voyager is going to give you their VGX token. Nobody wants your dumbass VGX token. Pull up my laptop. Look at this VGX token. Look, this is with a VGX token chart right here. You think it's going to get any better?
If you get enough of it, you might make a little money back.
Yeah, okay, sure. That's like somebody breaking in your house, stealing 10 grand. The cops arrest them and be like, well, he had $40 on him, so we'll just give you that.
Better than nothing.
Okay, $40, sure, yeah. And you know what? Okay, sure, give the people back some money. But you know what the right thing should be? Is not to start another company and expose more users to more risk. You should just call it quits, take all the money out, and just divvy it up. Instead of trying to launch another freaking thing. How many more people are going to get burned on a new company? I mean, think about it.
Okay. Two things that I think was good that Voyager did with Chapter 11. One, when you file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, okay, so Celsius, for example, their creditors can go sue them right now. And essentially, the first one to sue has the best chance of recouping all their money. By filing for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, it stops all creditors from suing them for money. That's number one.
So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing that you can't sue Voyager to get your money back.
But retail's not.
You know what? If they took my money, I would like to sue them.
Okay, you don't have enough money to pay for a good lawyer to take him to court and sue him.
You don't know how much money I have. If I want to sue Voyager, I sure as hell can.
Because guess what? It wouldn't be retail investors. It wouldn't be the unsecured debtors. It would be the secured creditors. It would be Alameda Research. It would be these people who have millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that Voyager owes them. They would be first in line. At least now, retail has a chance of recouping some of their money. They have a chance.
Recouping how much? You're going to get pennies on a dollar, bro. It's stupid.
Anything is better than nothing. Hey, guy watching, I don't know what your name is, but if you have money on Voyager, you have 10 grand and you get 2 grand back.
Sure.
You get 2 grand back. Would you be happy?
Okay. You know what I don't think is right is launching another damn company. There's no need for it, bro. There's no need for another company. There's no need for a Voyager 2.0. You know what? You done messed up the first time, and now you're like, well, you know what? They filed bankruptcy, so instead of getting your money back, they'll give you a 10%. How about the people that got direct deposits from their checking account into the Voyager account? They have a Voyager debit card, and that's all gone too. And what? They're gonna give them $10 back, 10%, 20% at most.
So what? Just nothing? Would you rather than do a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13?
You're in a risky industry right here. I'd rather VGX curl up and die and people lose money because there's always risk in investing.
Robin would rather you lose money.
I would rather people lose money in the short term than to relaunch another company that will probably fail again later on, and exposing more people to more issues and more debt.
You are so hyper focused on the new company, okay? That is the least of my concerns. They should be going away.
There should be no Chapter 11, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, you get to restart, a fresh start. You can launch another company, and you know what? Here's some of our Voyager tokens, so that way we can fish you in to getting back into our ecosystem. Here's some stocks. Think about the people that don't immediately sell it. People that get paid in VGX tokens. They get paid in Voyager
That'll be to their discretion whether they want to hold it or not.
But they're going to hold it in the thinking that maybe they'll recoup some of their money just to get burned once again. And
that's on them. At least they have a lifeline. At least they have a chance. At least they have a chance.
And you know who else got a chance? Voyager's got a chance to come back into the fray, and they don't deserve a second chance.
They're not going to come back the way they are. They will not be allowed to operate in the U.S. the way they are. They fucked up. Everyone agrees they messed up, okay?
Do you think they deserve a second chance?
Okay, let me ask you this question. Would you rather them do what Celsius is doing? What's better, Celsius's route or Voyager's route?
They both suck.
Well, okay, but if you had to pick one, which one would you pick?
But I wouldn't make a case for either one of them being a good option.
But if you had to
Voyager's
pick,
a stupid
pick
option.
one.
Celsius is a stupid option. You made mistakes, and now you got to deal with it. When you invest,
Exactly. So not either choice is ideal,
I
but
don't
you're
want
stuck in
Celsius-
the situation.
I don't want
What are you
Celsius to
picking?
come back. I don't want Celsius to come back.
I don't either.
I don't want Voyager to come back.
I don't either.
Then this
but
is
I
what
want
happened.
people to get their money back. And this is the best way for
that's
people
all
to get their
fine and
money
dandy,
back.
but I'm telling you,
it's all
I'm
through
telling
the
you, bro.
court. It's not going to be, hey, we're paying using retail money. We're using unsecured, non-priority creditor money to pay off loans, to unlock collateral, to pay back these secured
When you
lenders.
invest,
and then
when
what?
you invest,
shareholders are fucked. Unsecured creditors are screwed. Is that what you want?
You know what? When a company goes parabolic and you make money, you're investing and you take profits and you make money and you become rich. But at the same time, if you want to invest in a company that goes under, you understand the risk when you invest.
Misled people. People thought the way it was worded on their website.
What company hasn't?
People thought.
What company hasn't went out of business that misled people? Did anybody? Has there ever been a company that was like, you know what? I knew they were going to go under, but I threw money in anyways. No, they mislead. Every company that goes under misleads their investors because they think it's a great idea. People are like, oh, this is a great new blah, 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 blah. No. So they fit the mold of every other shady company that's went under. And shady companies that go under, they take the investors with them. That's what happens when you invest in a risky asset class. When you invest in risky assets, that's what happens. Buy a bunch of penny stocks, put $1 million in it. If you lose your money, I don't feel bad for you because it's a risky asset. Same thing with Voyager.
So you would rather, let me get this straight. You are advocating that no one gets any money back. Is that what you're advocating?
If it means Voyager dies, so be it.
Wow. So next time you say I'm the man of the people, I'm gonna call bullshit. Bull fucking shit.
No,
if someone's got
because it
50
helps
grand
more
of their
people.
life savings on there and they can recoup $5,000, 10%.
The loss
That's
of one.
That's the difference of someone contemplating suicide and someone not.
The loss of one person will benefit the greater
They're
mankind.
going away anyways. No one is gonna invest in a new Voyager 2.0. It's just
If they rebrand,
which they will try, but
yeah,
no
they're
one
going to
is
rebrand under something else, and people are not going to know. They're going to be like, "Oh, what's this new exchange over here? Let me use that." I'm telling you.
At that point, that's on them. At that point, that's on them.
And you don't care
But
about
give
those people?
people-
You don't care
give-
about those people, but you care about the people that irresponsibly are invested, huh?
Okay, so it's either
So
file
who do you care
Chapter
about?
11, reorganize, come out of it a new company, and pay some of your unsecured creditors back like retail
The
investors.
people already
or
lost
either
money.
do a 7 or a 13 bankruptcy. Everything gets wiped out. They liquidate everything. They pay the highest people first. Is that what you want?
You know what I want? I want the company to go away. I don't want a second chance for Voyager, and I don't want.
It's a free market. The free market will decide when and it will go away. It
And
will.
the free market said they died. And now they're using loopholes to circumvent their debts and screw people over and give them pennies on a dollar so they can have a second life and come by and screw a whole new round of people. And so, you know what? That's all I got.
Aren't the people paid with tokens just going to dump it on the free market anyway and dump the token? It's going to crash the token.
Right.
And then the people that decide they want to hold the token in hopes that it gets some value.
Well, that's on them. That's on them. At least they get a second chance with their money. At least you can take it out of the thing. I can't believe you're sitting here advocating. We got to turn the music off.
knob at the top.
So you're advocating for the company to not pay any of its retail investors back, to not protect them of these larger creditors to come and sue them.
All I'm saying
First come, first
is
serve.
that if giving the investors that lost money 10% of their money back at the cost, if that's the cost, you give them 10%, maybe 20%, and you give them a token that's trash anyways. If that's the reason, like, hey, but they get 10%, and you get to relaunch another company exposing all kinds of new people to more undue risk, then I feel like that's not worth it, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but this company being around is going to be more problematic than them just simply going away. And it's not like all the investors that lost money are being made whole. It's not like if you had $10,000, you get $10,000 back.
You get something.
Yeah, but you get something. But the problem is giving them something gives you the opportunity to go back and operate business again. And I don't feel like they deserve to operate business again. And you sit here and say, well, it's on you if you reinvest in it. But there's going to be new people that come into the space in the same way that this bull run had tons of people FOMOing into crypto that didn't know anything. They're not going to know about the history. Come 2024.
Yeah, they will. You know why? Because we will be talking about it.
In 2024 and 2025, in the next bull run, people are going to look and they're going to be like, okay, what exchange? Coinbase. Oh, this one gives me cheap fees. And they're going to expose new people to more risk. And more people are going to get hurt by them staying in business than the opposite, than the people that are already lost money. And instead of giving them a fraction of the amount, I would just rather they just wipe the slate clean, because they're also going to spend a lot of money in relaunching. And that money they spend in relaunching the second company could be used to pay people back. They have money on hand. So they could, as you say, give people back some money and not relaunch another company. And so you have the option of, hey, let's just liquidate and pay people back as much as we can. Or, hey, when we launch another company, we give them a little bit of money. We give them our freaking stock. We give them our token. Like, I'd rather, hey, give me 10% of my money back and just go out of business. Instead of
that would have never happened. That would have never happened.
Why not? That's what happens when you liquidate and you go out of business.
Yeah, but there would not even be near enough money. Because when you do a Chapter 11, you have banks come in, you have bankers come in that reevaluate the finances of the company. You really trust Voyager to tell you how much they have on assets and liabilities? No.
They're publicly traded. No, they're actually publicly traded companies, so we know exactly how much money they have on hand in assets. They actually have that in sheets. So if in anything, if you liquidate, you know exactly how much money you're going to get back.
A banker will come in and they'll reassess the company and say,
and the bankers will take fees and percentages, and it'll be less money that goes out. And there's going to be money set aside to relaunch the new business, so less money for the investors. The only upside,
that money is money that gets raised.
The only upside that you're getting from them, the only upside you're getting in comparative speaking, as far as dollar, okay, you're getting less dollars, but you're getting more of this Voyager token and Voyager stock. You're getting that. And if they just liquidated one out of business, you're going to get just cash. And you're not going to get that other trash.
But you're not going to get shit. That's what I'm telling you. Because the people at the top would get all that cash. And
Perhaps,
they would have zero obligation to pay retail investors anything. Nothing. What I'm trying to tell you is when you go through a Chapter 11, you're overseeing every decision you make outside of fundraising more money has to get approved by the court.
Okay, then why don't you sign up for the new Voyager account when they come out?
I'm not going. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
But you're advocating for it.
Advocating for what?
For them to file Chapter 11 and survive and come back into the market.
Okay, this is 99% of our arguments is you either misunderstand what I'm saying.
But that's the outcome of the bankruptcy.
Okay, but it has more than one layer to it, man. It's not just Chapter 11, we're coming back. It's Chapter 11, how the creditors get treated, how the money gets spread up.
So we're done with this one.
Yeah, because you know you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're wrong. Pull up my laptop, Ed. This is a quote. This is a tweet from Stephen Ehrlich, who is the CEO of Voyager. He tweeted this 12 hours ago, so 11 p.m. last night, essentially confirming that they are restructuring, file for Chapter 11. Now, I want to read customers with crypto in their accounts will receive in exchange a combination of the crypto proceeds from the 3AC recovery, which is a joke.
It's going to be zero.
It's going to be zero. Common shares in the newly reorganized company, which will also be a joke. And Voyager tokens, which is also a joke. Will receive a combination of their crypto, okay? That's the part I'm focusing on. And if they just went under or liquidated everything, they wouldn't have gotten nothing. It is important to know, and this is big, part of the announcement, we are confirming that customers with USD deposits in their account, not USDC, not stablecoin, USD dollars, will receive access to those funds after a reconciliation and fraud prevention process is completed with Metropolitan Commercial Bank. During reorganization, we'll maintain operations. BS, and there's numbers here that you can call. I'll leave this up here for a quick second in case you guys want to call these numbers to get more information. But they should be emailing you. You should be getting letters in your mail if you have money on Voyager as far as how the bankruptcy is going. But this could take a while, guys. Like I said, United Airlines took 3 years. I believe GM took 2 years. So as long as and it sounds like they already submitted their plan, that has to get approved. Once that's approved, they move into phase 2 where they start figuring out who they're paying back, how they're paying them back. What do you guys think? If you're a member of our channel, if you're with me on this one, put my face. If you're with Robin on this one, put Robin face. And if you're not a member, you can join by clicking the description in our link if you want to support the channel. All right.
What else? We got a couple new people. Adam Lovett and Glenn Stockley. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
This guy doesn't know anything. Hope you're
He
talking
says,
about Robin.
he says I don't know anything.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Look.
I think he's talking about me.
Look, at the end of the day, it's opinion. I think it's a good thing. Robin thinks it's a bad thing. Robin makes good points. I make good points. We think differently. This is what makes the show unique. So whether you agree with me, you agree with Robin, you think Robin's an idiot, you think I'm an idiot, you're more than welcome to stay here, give your opinion.
At the end of the day, even both sides, I see what David's saying. At the end of the day, he's just looking out for the investors, and I am too. He's looking at the investors that are invested now. I'm looking at the potential investors that are going to have exposure to this exchange when it relaunches. And so, you could literally go on either side. And I understand the people that lost money, that sucks. But I look at it more, and if you have an exposure to Voyager and you lost money, I'm sure you're siding with David's opinion that, hey, you would like to get some money back. However, my opinion and my stance is that, when all the dust settles and in 3-5 years, these people that are on the board members now are going to be sitting on the board member of another rebranded company, and these new investors are not going to be aware of the history, and that they're going to expose more people to risk. And so, it depends on what side of the aisle you stand there. We also got Shugs. Hola, welcome, Sin City Crypto.
Shugs been here before.
Yeah,
Shuggy Shugs.
he dropped the OLA, so I figured he did.
Shrugs. All right, let's move on to our next segment, our talking points. And Ed, you can go right into my laptop, my friend. So the first article we're going to talk about, Uprise. Oh my God. When I read this, I was like, what? How does this make sense? Uprise lost 99% of client funds while shorting Luna, despite its price crash. Korean crypto startup Uprise lost virtually all of its clients' funds by shorting Luna during its price crash and getting caught on the bounces. The Korean firm billed itself as using artificial intelligence-enabled automatic trading strategies to trade crypto on behalf of its clients. Their AI-enabled trading technologies was supposed to minimize the risk associated with leveraged crypto trading. The lost funds represent 99% of the funds that Uprise was managing on behalf of its customers. Okay. I got to gather my thoughts.
Well, you have example after example. Okay.
By the way, don't feel too bad. A lot of this was from large investors, high net worth individuals.
Yeah.
Not saying that money isn't worth anything, but it's
apparently if you have a lot of money, David doesn't feel bad if you lose.
No, it's not about that. It's more devastating to someone who's just an average retail investor.
Okay.
How the hell does this happen if this is an AI? Man, like
AI is not God mode. Okay, just because it comes from a computer doesn't mean that it can't be wrong. So, an AI is only as strong as the underlying code. So let's just say Google's AI is probably a lot more intelligent than Uprising's AI. Let's just be honest. They have more data, and AI essentially learns and develops. That's kind of the idea is that you give parameters, and then through example after example after repetition, you can identify certain markers. And anyways, but I like to look at these companies. Remember, companies are just like people. Why? Because companies are run by people. So people's tendencies and habits, their problems, are also things that you see in companies as well, not only just in people. So the way that you see certain people that take way too much risk and have this gambler mentality, and they take their say you know that guy you hear the story about. He takes the money out of the safe at work and he goes and puts it in roulette, trying to double it up, and he loses it all, and then he ends up going to jail.
Well, my computer told me to do it.
Now companies do the same thing. They take undue risk, and they might not be taking the treasury assets to a casino. However, they are gambling in other forms, and if you're doing option trading or you're trying to short the market in a crypto environment, then, you're pretty much doing the same. You're gambling, and you can justify your gambling by hiding behind an artificial intelligence to be like, well, hey, this is a proven whatever. But at the end of the day, nothing is foolproof, especially when you get into volatility. And with volatility, things become harder and harder to identify. And as things drop dramatically, you get big bounces.
Guys, there's certain buzzwords. AI, yield farming. Don't fall for it.
Also, but one thing here, in case you didn't know, your short positions on crypto exchanges, they're all public data. And so I can open up Bybit, I can open up Binance, and I can see what trades are in, who has what position, where the shorts are, and where the liquidation points are. And if you have enough money and you go against the grain, you can absolutely crush. If you see that there is if you see that an asset is dropping dramatically, and you can see that the inexperienced retail and even AI bots are opening up positions to short, you can literally see it. And if you have enough money, you can be like, all right, well, let me just buy a bunch of tokens, liquidate those. And as you liquidate these short positions, it causes the reversal to happen. Big bounces, and then people take profits. So if you think you're smart, there's somebody smarter on the other side. Put it that way.
Even smarter than the artificial intelligence.
I had a friend that moved out here.
Story time?
No. But he always thought he could outsmart the casinos. He'd put in like some parlay bets. He'd be like, yeah, I bet every team here on this side, and then I bet every team on this side, and mathematically, it adds up that no matter what, I'll make money. And I'm like, well, you're not smarter than the casinos. And he's all like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's foolproof. Ran into him later that day. He's like, man, it's so stupid. It's just like,
there are some arbitrage opportunities in sports betting, but few and far between.
But those usually come through the passage of time. But in front of you, there's the casinos have it set up that there's no vulnerability that they're guaranteed to lose.
Yeah.
And a good example would be you can put a futures bet in, and then you can say blah blah blah. Say the Cubs will win the World Series, and say they're extreme underdog. And as you get closer, it becomes more likely that they'll win. At that point, you don't need to wait for it to fulfill. You can hedge your bet and go against them and take profit. So there are ways that you can guarantee winnings, but it usually comes through the passage of time. But anyways, you ain't smart. There's always somebody smarter on the other side, especially when it comes to institutions. So
yeah,
just be careful.
I wouldn't trust any bot AI investing. No. And here's a good example of why you shouldn't. All right, next article we're talking about Bitcoin mining giant Core Scientific offloads 7,000 Bitcoin for more than $167 million in the month of June. Core Scientific sold 7,200 coins. It now holds a touch under 2,000 Bitcoin and about $132 million in cash on its balance sheet. By holding a majority of the Bitcoin they mine, public mining companies often serve as proxies on the stock market, providing investors exposure without owning the coins directly. That was a last-minute article I dropped on here, Robin.
Yeah, man, this is when you see the capitulation from the miners, when the miners are starting to sell their assets, and
we're close to a bottom. Close.
I think it's pushing it even. even further
miners
down.
always capitulate at every bear market.
But here's the thing:
So,
they're
usually the last. They're the last leg until we completely
they are, but it doesn't. In my opinion, it doesn't signal a reversal. Is what I'm saying is that we got further to go down. Basically, they just sold 7,000 Bitcoin. They didn't sell it over the counter. So this just went to the exchanges. So now the exchanges are sitting on a ton more Bitcoin.
But we're also seeing massive withdrawals from exchanges as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it hasn't gone to, them selling didn't affect the price negatively yet. And that it probably will a little further down the way because it wasn't sold on the books. So,
are you surprised?
No, these are publicly traded companies. You got to remember that the ASIC units that they have are financed, and so they have to make payments on those.
Right.
So they have their
the new ones that are coming.
They have their expenditures as well. So for one, they have to pay utilities. They have to pay the lease on the warehouses or whatever it is, the bank loans to build the warehouse and the facilities and all the employees. So you have operating costs. And then on top of that, they usually leverage their own company. They usually leverage their own Bitcoin, or they leverage, just capital, or they just, raise money through their stocks. And they gotta make money at the end of the day. And if Bitcoin is down and they're not turning a profit, or they're not at least covering costs when it comes to mining, they got to sell what's on hand. And they sold 7,000 Bitcoin, and now they only have 1,000 on hand. So that just tells you how much Bitcoin they just sold. Like that's a lot. I mean, is that like 80% of their Bitcoin?
They had them 9,000. Yeah. 77. Yeah. Damn.
So basically 80% of their Bitcoin, they just sold it. And so now what happens
in 1 month?
What happens next month if the Bitcoin price drops even more and they need to pay bills?
But I think
you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like you're getting to a point,
Yes.
and I read some articles where they were saying that a lot of these mining companies are going to go out of business, and that the reason they're going to go out of business. I mean, you look, Core Scientific has the most hash rate. They produce the most Bitcoin. They're first place. And they just took their treasury reserve assets, their Bitcoin on hand. They went from down to 1,000 from 9. And so
2,000,
or just shy of 2,000. And so what are the smaller guys doing? Right? And so you're going to start seeing,
I think Bitcoin mining is a little unique in the fact that if you do get some of these companies that go under, I think
it's going to happen.
I think there'll be so much demand from outside people who have been looking to get into Bitcoin mining. You hear it all the time, these oil companies, whatever the case may be, they can come in there, scoop up all these ASICs, scoop up the warehouse. I mean, take over the entire operations for cheap, bail those guys out, move on. So I think I'm not worried about that at all.
But what I'm saying is that on the macro side, when it comes to cryptocurrency, it's not good. Because yes, it's not like they're going to take all the ASICs and just throw them in a dumpster. I get that. Somebody's going to come and buy them at discount because the company went under. They're going to liquidate in the same way we talk about bankruptcy and liquidations. Somebody's going to come in and buy the ASICs for cheap, and they're going to start their own operation. And they're going to raise a bunch of capital and eventually probably get publicly traded. Or perhaps another company like Core Scientific might have cash on hand and they could just absorb somebody else's ASICs. And so that also makes sense. And I do think there's been a lot of buzz around them taking the miners that we have and consolidating it way down. And so instead of having 18 different large companies that are mining all the Bitcoin, maybe it'll shrink down to 8 or 7 because all the other ones will go bye-bye. And instead of just common enterprise coming in and buying it up, I think the larger ones are going to absorb it. So.
I think if we're losing miners, as long as the difficulty decreases as well, I think we'll be fine. All right, let's move on. Nexo is in talks to buy out Vault. We talked about this yesterday and the day before. Vault just halted all their withdrawals. not too big of a company, so not a lot of news about it. But Nexo said it plans to not only protect Vault's existing customer base, but also give them access to an improved range of services. Nexo signed an indicative term sheet with Vault that grants it a 60-day exclusive exploratory period for potential acquisition of the Singapore-headquartered crypto exchange. Now, they're going to use this 60 days to go over all the financials, the accounting, make sure that what they're saying and what you see on the surface, nothing bad is under the hood. And so if everything's good, after 60 days or even before then, Nexo could potentially buy up to 100% of Vault, its assets, and its customers. Plans to acquire up to 100% of Vault and reorganize its future operations with the aim to accelerate a deeper presence in Asia. Now, Robin, I hear a lot of because I jump into Reddit communities, I'm on Twitter. I just like to gauge sentiment. I'm a big sentiment trader, people guy. I believe people make decisions based off emotions, and when emotions are high, you can kind of forecast possibly what people are saying. A lot of people are saying Nexo is the gold standard for DeFi, even though they're more CeFi for DeFi. Would you feel comfortable putting your money with Nexo if you get 4 or 5% yield?
I ain't putting my money nowhere, bro. What is 4 or 5%? Right now, I can make 4 or 5% by simply buying Bitcoin and waiting for it to go up 5%. And I don't have to wait a year. How about I just wait till Bitcoin drops down to 19,000? I'll say 19,200. Buy Bitcoin, however much I'm trying to get my yield, my 5 to 10% yield. And then I just wait for it to go back up to 20,500. Boom, I just made 5%. Like that to me has so much less risk than locking up my money for a year into a DeFi platform where one after another went under. And if it wasn't for FTX, Aave would have went under. BlockFi would have went under if it wasn't for FTX. Celsius, probably the second biggest, went under. And so you could tell me that Nexo is leading whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big you are. If you have exposure and you have mismanagement of funds, it doesn't matter. And when the market goes under, everything goes under that isn't buttoned up 100%. And it doesn't even matter if they think they're doing right. Because you know what? Voyager lent money out to Alameda, to Three Arrows Capital. And they thought, hey, that's a sound company. We're making a sound decision. So it wasn't like they just threw it away. It wasn't like they did the short position thing that other company did. These are companies believing that they're doing sound decisions, but they're essentially not. And so I don't know what partnerships Nexo has that may or may not go under. What if they have a lender? What if they have exposure to somebody to lend it out? And anyways, for me, the yield, not worth it, man. For what, 5%? Easily make that just swinging.
Swing trading?
Yeah, or just don't swing, just hodl.
Okay.
The price of Bitcoin will go up
so
eventually.
If you had to use one exchange to onboard your fiat and offboard your fiat, use Coinbase?
Yeah.
Not FTX?
Not FTX. I think FTX, if anybody, is risky to me.
Why is that?
Because they have a line of credit out to Voyager. They just went bankrupt. They lent out money to BlockFi, which is about to go under. And so at some point, if you keep lending out money, you're not going to have any left.
Okay, but you don't think? Okay, so you don't. You think Sam Bankman-Fried is being careless with the money? You don't think they got enough? Their operations are fine. Hey, and we can also lend.
Do I think FTX is going to go under? No. If I had to pick and choose between one or the other, Coinbase is not going out here and investing billions of dollars in companies that are failing.
They did invest in Three Arrows Capital.
Well, they're not investing now
to the extent that
exactly. Yeah. For me, this is what I want from my crypto exchange. Make money off of the trades and stop doing other crap. And you know what? If you're lending out money This is how we got into the problem in the first place. I lent money out to this other exchange. I lent money out to this other platform. You know what? Every single trade, pull up Coinbase's order books. This is what happens. Just look at the real-time order books for Coinbase. It's just flying. You just see transactions just rolling faster than milliseconds. And every single one of those trades, they get at least, was it like 1% of it, 1 to 3% fees?
$3 is their minimum fee, but yeah.
So, yeah. And then you take that and you take every single crypto asset that they have on their platform, they're making money on their trades. That's where they're supposed to make money. And leveraging risk by lending out money is exposing your company to undue risk. And so at face value, if I don't see Coinbase, who's publicly traded, so they have to announce any of their large acquisitions, if I see that they're not handing out tons of money, then I feel more comfortable putting it there because I feel like they're taking less risk. In FTX, their model is not to make money off of trades. Their motto is to make money by acquiring and lending out money. And I feel like they're exposing themselves to more risk. Do I think they're going to go under? I don't think so. I think they have enough capital. I think Sam Bankman-Fried is smart enough to know what he's doing. I think they'll be fine. But if I got to choose, I'm going to go to the one that's taking less risk.
They're also a publicly traded company here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But take it for what it means. Raging Rob. New segment, Raging Rob. So there's a lot of talk about OnlyFans. Said miners will do OnlyFans, and I said they'll do, instead of OnlyFans, only miners. Miners will go on. No.
Terrible idea. Terrible.
What about only exchanges, where the CEOs of Coinbase and all
How
these?
about only one host for this show?
Perfect. Let's meet Robin, Ed. All right. Some news for my co-host who doesn't want to do the show with me anymore. Virginia. We got some VA news, bro. Virginia, Fairfax County, Charleston, South Carolina, huh?
North Carolina, but
Yeah, my bad.
yeah, definitely not Virginia.
Yeah. Anyways, 2 Virginia pension funds ease into crypto lending via VanEck's new finance income fund. On Tuesday, which was yesterday, global investment manager VanEck announced that 2 retirement systems in Fairfax County have invested some of their funds in its crypto lending fund. This is a quote from VanEck, not sure who, but someone from their company. Says it offers exposure to their product, offers exposure to Bitcoin through a strategy that invests in Bitcoin futures, as well as direct Bitcoin access to both accredited U.S. investors and qualified offshore investors. VanEck announced the initial tranche of a $35 million commitment in the new Finance Income Fund, which is the name of their product that these companies are putting money into, by 2 retirement systems in Fairfax County. One being the Fairfax County Employees Retirement System and the other being the Fairfax County Police Officers Retirement System. And it demonstrates growing institutional adoption of digital assets as opportunities continue to mature. Mark my words. Elizabeth Warren is going to have something to say about this. Elizabeth Warren will have something to say about this. She'll probably ask the heads of the retirement thing and the Fairfax County employees to go and explain to her why they would decide to have exposure to digital assets. Now, Robin, Virginia's your hometown. Fairfax County. Slums, right?
Fairfax is not my hometown.
What is your hometown?
That's like somebody saying, like, you're from Mesquite, right? Mesquite, Nevada, right? And I'm like, get out of here, bro. So
where are you from again? What part of Virginia?
Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk.
Or Virginia Beach. That
BB.
area. So, okay, yeah, it's cool. You're getting exposure to Bitcoin. You know what? Crypto's on the up and up. And you know what? If you're going to go into long-term assets like, say, police retirement accounts, it makes sense. You can look at the history of Bitcoin, and everyone's kind of in agreement. It slowly goes up, right? And it's probably going to continue to trend that way for the simple fact that the circulating supply of Bitcoin will not ever be more than 21 million. And because it won't ever be grossly inflated like the dollar, it's somewhat of a collectible, right? And so in comparison to inflation, as your buying power gets decreased and an asset stays the same, that's why the price of cars keep going up. Why the price of a home keeps going up. Because you're not printing out homes and cars more than you did 10 years ago. They just keep building them at a normal pace. And so in comparison to inflation, where you're just printing out of control, same can be said with Bitcoin. It's like a commodity. And so, yes, good idea. And in the long term.
Do you
now,
think
I don't think that if it was a short term kind of thing, like I don't think you should be putting your annual budget, or trying to balance your budget sheet, as far as a government body with Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that's irresponsible. But if you have a treasury asset that you're not planning on moving, or retirement fund you don't plan on moving, and you're just trying to hedge your bet against inflation, then why not? Now, obviously not the best vehicle. You're talking about Bitcoin futures and other investors, but what are your options? There's the Bitcoin ETF, the spot Bitcoin ETF isn't available. And you're obviously being a state in the United States, you're not going to go in and invest in an ETF overseas. So, that's really your only option you have if you want exposure as far as a government body. And you're restricted strictly to investing in the stock market and the ETFs, then yeah. Sure.
Here's the thing. In these pension funds from especially government, right? Like police, firefighters, literally that's the main draw of these jobs is you get a fat pension and you're guaranteed a certain amount of income when you retire. So I think they're going to get a lot of backlash. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying they're going to get a lot of backlash, especially for people like Elizabeth Warren. Something happened with a firefighter fund or a police fund in Florida a few years ago, and she brought in the people that run the pension and just completely destroyed them and say, why would you do this? You lost all these people's money. Not saying it's going to happen, but just curious to see how it plays out. But interesting that government bodies and pension funds are getting into crypto. All right. Speaking of government, Federal Reserve Conference, you can pull up my laptop, Mr. Federal Reserve Conference cast doubt on CBDC and dollar digitization. At the Federal Reserve's first conference on the international role of the dollar, the prospect of a U.S. CBDC did not particularly impress panelists. The Fed summary said, quote, panelists generally agree that technology by itself would not lead to drastic changes in the global currency ecosystem, as other factors such as the rule of law, stability, network effects, and the depth of markets are crucial for the advantages held by dominant currencies. So, Robin, you got any thoughts on this?
So they're doubting. So they're doubting the CBDC, right?
They're saying, whatever. We need to think about the rule of law.
Here's the thing:
network effects.
CBDCs are coming.
You want them to come?
No, but I'm saying they're coming whether you want them or not. So CBDCs are on the way. They're coming. They're being built out. They're being tested. The government will have those out. It only makes sense. You're already transacting money digitally. Why not put it on a ledger that is cheaper, faster, and efficient, that can easily be controlled and traced by the government?
Yes,
and
there it is. Controlled and traced by the government.
Yes.
They want to know where you're spending your money. They want to tell you where to spend your money with CBDCs. So what I envision happening, call me a conspiracy theorist, but CBDCs, when they finally get here, stimulus checks, tax returns, child tax credits, all that stuff, welfare, everything will be put through.
So there's the Cynthia Loomis bill, and she's been very vocal on how she feels the CBDCs could be integrated into our government. And she's advocating for the adoption of a CBDC and even a creation of it. She thinks it's a good idea because you know what? It's coming whether you want it or not. So you might as well bring it into a way that's favorable. So the idea is that
favorable to who?
No, hear it out. Yeah. You're going to get it regardless.
Okay.
So you might as well at least formulate it in a way that's beneficial. So the way that the bond system works now and with the SWIFT system is that it is outdated. There's too many people over here trying to check, and man, it takes like 4 days. If you try to send a wire transfer, it takes forever. That exact same system that facilitates wire transfers is the same system that transfers money from the Federal Reserve, from the government, to the banks, to corporations, from one nation to the other.
You're wrong. I'm kidding. You're right.
And so why use this outdated system when you can transact these with CBDCs? And so if you can just keep the CBDC in those parameters and leave it out of the hands of the citizens, then I think it's a win. Because
But they're not going to do that.
there's laws and proposals for it.
But they're never going to approve it.
Okay, well, hear me out.
Okay. I think
Hear me
I
out.
like that part of the idea.
The
but-
government transacts with other nation states. The central bank issues out CBDCs to other banking to banks and other charters and to other companies, and then from there, a stable coin of your choosing, the free market will actually choose for you, is a token that you decide to use from there on. And perhaps it'll be the Bank of America CBD, or CBDC. And maybe it'll be Wells Fargo, and maybe each bank will have their own
I hate
stable
Wells
coin.
Fargo
I'm just saying
with a
that
passion.
this is projecting into the future. Thinking about what this place is going to look like. And you can just keep the government out of our wallets, let's say, and they can just keep them transacting or moving money between their own entities and the central bank and the large corporations, and cool. But the scary part is when the individual consumer, the citizen, the civilians, when they're being monitored and watched, because obviously nobody wants that.
Well, but I agree that the international monetary system, the SWIFT, is outdated, and I agree with you. CBDC, stablecoin, stuff like that will make it more efficient and just overall better. But it won't stop there, and that's what I'm worried about. Talks had a good point. He said CBDC's coming instead of fighting it. I plan on getting rich investing in the companies that are in the systems that will run it. Hey man,
Yeah,
can beat the game, join it, or whatever.
And there's been argument that Algorand will be the chain of choice for the American CBDC.
how much you want to bet Algosaurus is going to pop in the chat right now? QA in 3, 2, 1.
So they're obviously not going to build their own blockchain. They're probably just going to use one that's already there, that's already proven.
Why don't you just adopt USDC and its infrastructure?
Well, it's a privately held company, and
That's also held by
that partner. Yeah,
They would be my number one choice if they were to adopt. And not because I'm saying it's the best. I'm saying it would be like if I had to pick, I'd say they would pick
here's
that
the thing: you also want to have smart contracts enabled as well. And then like that, you can, when you issue out bonds, you can have collateral, payments, interest, all of these smart contracts instead of trying to do it all on the back end. That's the beauty of smart contracts. The beauty of using a chain like Algorand is that you can say, hey, if another country wants to borrow this amount of money, you can send it out digitally, and then the contract has all the metadata on there as far as the agreement. And it's all public data. And you can pull it up instantly.
I'm going to vote for the project that the founder used to work for the U.S. federal government, which is Quant. I'm a big Quant guy. I love Quant. All right, let's move on. U.S. Commerce Department asked digital asset industry for input on competitiveness framework. Now, this is referring to the executive order.
There's Algosaurus. Popped up right on cue.
Straight up. Just knew it, bro. My man's like a hibernating Algosaurus. Oh, man, I love it. Welcome back. All right. So the competitiveness framework is referring to the executive order by Joe. You can call him Joe Biden. Man, he just keeps embarrassing us on national stages, bro. Did you see on 4th of July, his wife had to remind him to say, God bless America? She whispered like 3 times he wouldn't say, so she took the mic and said, God bless America. He was like, okay, like, and like all jokes aside, and we're not going to talk politics, I'm just going to mention this. I legit think he's like deteriorating mentally, which at his age, I would assume was normal, right? And we laugh and stuff, but like, shit, man, like, I don't know. Anyways, the executive order where he said U.S. needs to get in front of this. We need to be the leader in digital asset, fintech, blah, blah, blah. U.S. Commerce Department asked the industry for input. Providing 17 questions, the U.S. Commerce Department did, to encourage discussion. And as of midday on Tuesday, 8 comments have been received. Lack of regulatory clarity is a significant obstacle, business and innovation. This is from MasterCard. They said, MasterCard therefore supports the view that the U.S. administration should consider leadership in the regulation of digital assets as a key enabler of the overall competitiveness of American firms in this sector. MasterCard said countries are creating burdensome requirements for businesses in the sector and recommended that, quote, an approach to the treatment of digital trade be included in the U.S. international trade agreements. The American Bankers Association favored regulatory clarity as well, while criticizing the SEC staff accounting bulletin for inhibiting competitiveness. So a lot of layers here, Robin. So Commerce Department, MasterCard seems to be, they're saying, look, digital assets are here. They're great. We just need some regulatory clarity. And then you had the American Bankers Association say the SEC is messing stuff up. Gary the Gun, here he is out here messing it up. By the way, if you're a member of our channel, put Gary the Gun. Put Gary's emoji in the chat. Robin, please share your loud-spoken insight.
You know what they need? They need a crypto committee. I'm not saying build an entire branch of the government.
Whoa,
no.
Whoa. Are you saying they should create a separate entity?
Stop. I just said they don't need a whole branch. But if you had a crypto committee, if you had a board of people where you had officials that were appointed or elected or whatever it was that could take issues like this, where they can ask companies questions and they can make suggestions to lawmakers and to Congress and to, regulating bodies and authorities. They can say, hey, this is the information that we have. This is the issue at hand. This is what we propose. And that's normal. They have these councils all the time. This is normal. You have like the Realtors Council or whatever it is. And they'll make suggestions as far as new laws and regulations when it comes to the housing market and to mortgages and the loans. And, they don't need to create a branch of government for housing. I know that's what you want. But what I'm saying is that they should form a committee. So that way these stories aren't odd or strange. You can just have, hey, you have one source of go-to information, a committee made up of people from the industry appointed by the government that they already respect. And then from there, you can ask questions and you can bounce ideas off of when it comes to regulation for our industry.
Like a crypto SEC?
No. The SEC basically brings down the regulation. And so what you need is a committee that can have influence. Put it that way. So,
okay, so a couple things. First thing, Augustor said if Joe Biden was a crypto coin, which one would he be?
Sleepy coin?
I put Doja like I have no idea. I just wrote a bunch of gibberish, which is usually what he does. Also, someone mentioned, so I've heard this over the last few days, and we decided not to cover it because
Is it about
USDC.
Is it about Dogecoin?
No, it's about
sure?
Circle. It's about Circle.
Pull up my laptop. Look, yet another Elon Musk-owned company starts accepting Dogecoin.
What is this dude's infatuation with Dogecoin?
The boring company, not quite as boring as you think it is, but the boring company is now accepting Doge. Now, let me ask you a question. Is there a city or a state that is gonna drill a hole for this tunnel for their transit infrastructure
and pay in Doge?
That is gonna pay in Doge?
You know,
the answer is a resounding no.
You know, Robin? Yeah, it's possible.
You know, they actually created the first tunnel here.
They did.
It was from the Sands to
The mob did.
to No.
The Resorts World entrance
Resort
just
World
opened like
Resort
3 days
World
they
ago.
do?
to the convention center. They have a
Underground?
Tesla station.
Are we going?
No.
Okay. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That was my Doge thing. I'm done with this.
You are. You completely threw me off. Oh, the Circle thing. So I'm not worried about Circle, and one reason: BlackRock. They are spending more money than they're bringing in, essentially, and they're rising them up. They're almost caught up to Tether, which is their goal. So when you got Daddy BlackRock in your back pocket, they ain't going nowhere. I would not worry, in my opinion. But then again, I've also been saying, I'm not saying I'm not worried that they're going to go under. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm not holding any in stables and I'm not holding any on exchanges. So take it for what you will. I was going to go over this Italian article, but I think we got to wait for Rocco to come back. So we are done with this segment of our show, and we will now move on to the last and the final segment of Sin City Crypto Live, which is our market analysis. All right, let's go ahead and pull up my laptop, please. We are sitting at $915 billion in market cap for overall crypto. Volume is up to 61 billion. Yesterday was closer to 50 to 55. So we're up a little bit. Trading's happening, but we're still trading sideways. We'll take a look at charts here in a second. Bitcoin dominance sitting at 42.5% and ETH dominance sitting at 15.3%. By the way, these trending ones, not trending, the hot ones, it's not listed on here. Just know that they're paid spots, okay? So don't see a hot or trending or anything and think that it's actually stat-based. It's people pay for those slots. Bitcoin up only 1.6% on the week. I was watching a channel yesterday and they had a graph up. Mid caps are killing it in the month of July so far, up close to 5%, followed by, I want to say, small caps, large caps, and then Bitcoin came in at number 4, only up 0.5% in the month of July so far. Slow mover, but it's also, it moves the markets. It's essentially the first mover. When we do get back in that bull run, you'll see more money flood into Bitcoin. It'll push the markets up. As Bitcoin reaches these key levels, people will take profits, start dumping it into alts. That is a cycle of cryptocurrency. Again, I did mention USDC. They are 10 billion away from 10.1 billion away from overtaking USDT. Robin, will this happen in 2022? We talked about this on this channel months ago.
In 2022? I don't think so, man.
No?
How close are they?
10 billion.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think it will. I think it will.
I think there's too many tether pairs. So, it's not about what people want to use. It's what the exchanges force you to use. And most of the trading pairs, especially through Binance, the largest exchange is with Tether. And so until exchanges decide to use USDC in favor of UST, I don't think it's going to change. And I think it will. I think the exchanges will lean towards USDC. However, I just don't see it happening within the next 6 months. So I think that's a long process of changing over.
We will
order books.
revisit this question here in the next 5 months. And then BNB sitting at up 9.25% over the last week. Cardano still sitting at 46%. Their on-chain analytics look great. Still over 70% staking of their coins. The hard fork is on schedule for end of this month, or sorry, mid to end of August. My apologies. So things are looking good for Cardano. Now it just needs adoption, and we'll be off to the races. And then rounding out the top 10, you have Solana sitting at up 7.4% in 7 days, and Dogecoin. What that announcement from Elon? When was that? Because usually we see a pump in Doge, right?
Yeah, that was
from
today.
yesterday?
No,
That was
that's
today?
today. But the thing is it's like I said, it's the boring company, so it's kind of a boring company. So, when if it would have been Tesla or maybe even SpaceX, but You're talking about the smallest portfolio company he has under his umbrella?
Yeah. All right, let's look at some on-chain stuff. And for this one, Ed, you can take my face away. You can just go full screen laptop, just so thank you, sir, so everyone can see it. So this is the number of active Ethereum addresses, and you can see we completely fell off a cliff in the end of June. Now, with the testnet merge and everything going on, we don't get as up-to-date info as we do on Bitcoin, but active addresses are decreasing. So a lot of people have staked their coins. People continue staking their coins. And NFT markets are down, so not a lot of active addresses on Ethereum. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but just something interesting to take a look at. Now, the next chart out, or the next metric I have here is a NUPL, the net unrealized profit and loss. You like that, Robert? The NUPL?
You are so creative.
Thank you.
Amazing.
All right, so this, so let me zoom out and then I'll zoom back in, okay? And I know it sucks every time you zoom back in and zoom out, you have to change it. But so this is net.
Ed, in case you didn't know, you do have the crickets button over there on
no, don't worry
on
about
the
that,
Roadcaster
Ed.
Pro.
No, just mute Robin. You'll be good. So this essentially tells us where the market is. So when you have deep red, that is capitulation. Orange is hope or fear, depending on which way we're going. Yellow is optimism, anxiety, then belief, denial, and the blue right here, the little the violet blue, this is greed, euphoria, and greed. So this typically signals tops, which when we go into blues, we have it. And red, which is capitulation, does a majority of the time signal a bottom. We had it here, signal the bottom. We had a big run up here. When we went red for a significant amount of time, signaled the bottom. Same thing here. And guess where we're at now, friends? We are currently capitulating. And by the way, this is for Ethereum. Ethereum, not Bitcoin, Ethereum. I know we typically show on-chain stuff for Bitcoin, but this is Ethereum. We've been in capitulation since June 11th of this year. How long will it last? Well, the last capitulation lasted from March 8th of 2020 to about April 22nd of 2020. So about a month. So we're almost a month in. I'm not saying this is the bottom for ETH, but when you think about the merge coming up, when you think about active addresses are down, so maybe people are just hodling their Ethereum. They're not using it to buy NFTs. You're good. And then capitulating, you won't have to worry about miners dumping, right? Because what I would assume is these miners would take the Ethereum they've mined and they'll go ahead and stake it and become a validator on the new proof of stake.
hodling.
On the there you go. We have a Ethereum miner. Ed mines Ethereum, correct?
1.2 gigahash.
1.2 gigahash. Okay, now what do you plan on? And feel free to put the camera on your face too, Ed. What what do you plan on doing? What do you plan on doing when? There you go. What do you plan on doing when ETH goes to proof of stake and you can no longer mine proof of work? What do you plan on doing?
I anticipate at least a 1 week skedaddle where everyone tries moving their miners and pointing them at different coins. It's going to take at least a week for it to settle, probably more. And I'll mine something as efficiently as possible and pray for something to go up.
Will you now, if you're holding any significant amount of Ethereum, would you be taking those and trying to become a validator?
Absolutely. I'd stake a node.
There you go. There you go. That's a good some insight. You said 1 gigahash?
1.2.
1.2, my bad. I like it. So, Rob, so based on this, right, capitulation, we know that is typically signal of a bottom. It's when essentially everyone gives up and says, screw it, I'm dumping it, I'm taking losses. And now we can start to build back up. Are you confident, Robin, that we are closer to a bottom on ETH than we are on Bitcoin, even though they move in relevance to each other?
Perhaps. I mean, you think you're going to get a lot of, there's a lot of bullish sentiment when it comes to the price movement of Ethereum in correlation to the upgrade. So when they do move to proof of stake, if you watch any other YouTuber, essentially they're all pretty much saying the same thing. Like, oh my God, the price is going to rally. The price is going to rally. Usually, they have a beat on what the retail investor is doing.
Right.
And so I think that the price will rally. I think it'll be short-lived. I think it'll probably pull back sooner than people think. But that would be a deviation from Bitcoin, at least in the short term, just for the simple fact that they have a major upgrade in the works. And I think a lot of people are going to try to get ahead of the pump. And so, yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. And then just taking a quick peek at this Ethereum chart. So this is the daily chart on Ethereum. I have two lines. The blue line on top is the 200-week moving average. And the green is a trend line I've drawn. It is a rising trend line. Now, I do think we're going to catch some resistance here at the 200-week moving average, which is roughly around $1,211, between $1,211 and $1,250. Then we'll get rejected there, just like we did here in June on June 25th. We closed above, closed below, and then came right back down to this trend line. I do think that's the price action we're going to see. So if you're a swing trader, you can catch it at about 1,050, 1,080, sell when it gets to 1,200. You can make some money channeling that way. And then the last thing I want to talk about was Elrond. Now, when I go through these charts, and this is the 1 hour chart on Elrond, by the way. Now, please keep in mind the higher time frame you go, the more strength a pattern has, right? So on the 1 hour, take it for what you will, but still in a bear flag, okay? We saw a big move to the downside, and then we see this channel to the upside. These typically do break to the downside, and the width is going to be how much it's going to break is the width of this channel here, which is about 7%. So if we go here and we measure from the bottom of this to 7%, you're looking at about a $50 Elrond. What I like to do is I like to see my patterns on charts and then go to Crypto Stackers Pro and put the margin pressure levels on, which is exactly what I did. And we took the last local high on June 24th, where it got to wicked all the way up to $65. And guess what? Our 3x short level is sitting at $49, which has been support 3 times, 29th, 30th, and the 1st of July. So June 29th, June 30th, 1st of July. We're sitting at about $55 now. If this bear flag does come true and it does break to the downside, I would expect support at $49. So if you're a swing trader, which unless you know charts and you understand there's tremendous risk when swing trading, I would not recommend. But if you are a swing trader, I'd be looking at either shorting it down to $48.99 or picking some up, going long at that $49 mark. This is, of course, on Elrond. Believe in the project long term, but we're talking about short-term trading, talking about making some money in a bear market. Also, if you're a fan of this platform or if you think it looks pretty cool, the link to the onboarding is in the description of this video. Forrest, the founder, the creator, comes on our show every single Friday. Amazing person, does a really good job. So, yeah. That's all I got, Rob. Short and sweet. Potato meat. All right, you got anything else to add before we sign off here?
No, I think that's good.
I go to the dentist. All right, Mr. Producer, sir, roll the outro. On behalf of myself, Robin, and Ed. By the way, Ed, thank you so much for filling in. We truly appreciate it. You are a man.
Enjoyed
many,
it. Thank you.
My pleasure. It was our pleasure having you here. Rocco, you're fired. Kidding. We'll see you tomorrow, Rocco. On behalf of us three here, we love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 10:30 in Vegas time. Peace.
I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D turned into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D turned into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Smoking on the island, say she wanna ride with me. Took her on a flight, said all her bags from Italy. I sent her with a friend, they shopping there religiously. Whoa, whoa, yeah. She say she love me, but that's when she rockin' Prada bag. Said she ready for the next, I won't, not so fast. Slow down, slow down, slow down, girl, don't you crash. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Cause we can mess up that pretty face, but we can fuck up that pretty lady. Tryna kiss mess up, I'm in your place. Man, this shit so crazy. Never thought I'd be doing shit like this again. Put that effort in, girl, then I repay you. Crash that thing out the park, now I feel like Babe Ruth, baby. This shit I can't do, baby. No way I can't move, baby. Nothing I can't prove, baby. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Question marks along your brain, wonder if you should try again. Look at me inside your braces. Can't focus when we face to face. Plenty things I could go say. Name a place I go and pay at. Said she want no boo. Been around the world, plenty things I can show you. Taking flights to GA for our soul food. Gotta pay 1K for GA at my shows too. Keep it 1K with my fans even at my lows. Ooh. That's why I'm back. Show your man the things I've showed you. Tell your man how I used to hold you, but I won't hold you. Your new man is lame and all I spoke is true. Life won't smoke for you. That sadness comes with coping too. This madness come with shit that's overdue. You strong with yourself, nobody else holding you, but I ain't holding you. You the one I need when I'm off that perk or two. Hit that thing early, got your sleep like curve for you. All these lame ass bitches I curve for you. All these packs and pearls I burnt with you. It's up now, baby, it's stuck. They can look, but they cannot. They gon' hate, so I keep that tuck. All this ice on me like pucks. I work hard, don't need no luck. Only thing I need is my Glock. When there's bread, these birds gon' flock. When they dead, I let them rot. I ain't tryna leave you up, I said stop waiting. And I don't got time for these pussy fuckers playing. You gotta read between the lines that I am saying. Ain't got no time for no more bullshit conversations. Cause I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas.